Okay. All right, great. Can you guys hear me okay? Am I mic'd up? Yes? Okay, brilliant. It feels like the English invasion today. There's so many Brits in the room. I'm like, what is going on? Right? Right, this is it. Anyway, my name is April Sobral. Thank you for being here today. I'm one of the co-founders of This Retail Connects. It's our first event. We're very excited. My background is I come from running retail stores. So I grew up in a store. I was literally born in one. My mum had an antique shop in the UK. I say that's a funny story, but really everything was for sale in our house. I watched everything get sold, relationships get built, pieces of furniture went into people's homes. And, you know, then I got kicked out of home at 16 as an unruly teenager, got a job in a retail store, and then 3 decades later, ended up running 350 stores. So that's why I'm qualified to talk to you about retail, right? Because I've been in it my whole life. And now what I get to do is I get to train retail leaders, mostly in the field, how to lead, right? How to coach, how to train, how to connect, and how to retain their teams. And I work with brands like Luxottica. I train their field leadership, all the directors. Jimmy Choo's a client, Tory Burch is a client. So I'm very, very fortunate that I've been able to transition from that executive role of leading stores to now actually helping and supporting more retailers. And I built a company called Retail U, which is kind of like LinkedIn learning for retailers. That's the way I like to look at it. So today, what am I going to talk to you about? I'm going to talk to you about adopting AI with a positive mindset. Why is this important? Because retail is always changing, right? And I've been in it long enough to know that if you don't get a team on board with you to actually follow you on the journey of change, you will not be able to get them to adopt anything that you're doing. And as leaders in retail or in any organization or in your life, you need to be able to adopt things positively because guess what? Your mindset and your leadership actually influences the outcomes in your business, your life, everything. Everything revolves around that. And I learned that just through leading good teams, through change, leading bad teams, the things that I wasn't able to adopt. I'm going to be able to share that with you today. Things that I couldn't get people to do because my leadership just didn't influence people in a positive way. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. So does that sound good? Yes? Okay, awesome. So what is leadership? First of all, because I want to define what leadership is before we talk about the AI piece, humans connecting it and adopting it. Because without adoption, guess what? It's not going to happen in your org, right? I've worked with lots of technology companies in the past where I've had to adopt it into, 200 stores. And without that field team or your office team on board, it doesn't happen. So what is leadership? What is leadership? I'm a very engaging, I like asking questions and getting people to talk back. I'm a trainer, right, and a coach. So what is leadership? If you had to define leadership, what is it? What is it?
Influence.
Influence? Is it influence? Yeah, okay. Yeah. Say that again? Coaching. Okay, coaching. Yeah, leadership is a big term and it's a big topic. And really what I want to define it as today is leadership is influence. That's what leadership is. It's influence, nothing more, nothing less. So if you don't have a title or you don't have a team, do you still have leadership?
Yes.
Yes? Okay, so you do, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I want you to look at your neighbor and say, you're a leader.
You are a leader.
Okay, right? And I want you to say, to your neighbor, you have influence.
You have influence.
Okay? So you can either use your influence for good or not so good. Right? We've all had bosses that we didn't want to answer that phone, right? So one of the first things I do when I'm teaching leadership to big organizations so that they can move through change and get people on board in a positive way is not to assume that just because people agree with you, that means they're going to actually follow you and do the job. They're following you because you're asking them to do something and they're not scared about losing their job a lot of the times. And we know that because right now what's happening with AI is the number one question is, can AI replace my job? There are studies and statistics about this, that if you're making an assumption, and I heard it this morning, no, people are good, like they're really embracing it. But we don't know that for sure. But what we do know is that there is reports out and statistics sharing that, oh my God, my job could be replaced. I was at dinner with my daughter and her 5 friends in the UK a couple of weeks ago. One of them works in a retailer, one of them works at a fashion magazine. And I asked them the question. I knew I was coming here to talk to you guys. So I asked them, what do you think about AI? And they were like, scary, right? And then I did hear scary cool, which we heard earlier with Fabio and Jack, right? Scary cool. But the other thing is they were like scary. And I was like, well, can we talk about this for a minute? Because I'm going to be at Microsoft and we're going to be talking about it. And you're like the younger generation. Anyway, unpacking that, I think it was just scary because they don't know what it is, or the fear of it taking their job, that buzz thing that's out there right now. One of the girls, though, shared with me that she had actually had an interview with Mark Jacobs, and it was through ChatGPT, and it was generating the questions, and then she was typing the answers in furiously, and then it was generating more questions. And so they had used it to actually interview Mark Jacobs. So you could Google that. It's probably out there in the UK. And she said actually asked amazing questions that she would have never thought of. So she was like, that was kind of cool, but still, I don't want it to take my job, right? So people are worried about that, so you can't negate that. So yes, leadership matters, your influence matters, your mindset around it matters, because what you believe and what you think about is going to what? Influence everybody else. And so today's focus is, how can AI be a tool for collaboration and growth? And how can we influence the adoption of it positively? With all these wonderful technology partners in the room, without the teams on board, we can't do anything about it, right? So how do we influence AI? Understanding that it can't replace my job, and it's a tool for collaboration. This is a report, I think, that was from IBM. So 79% of US workers were either fearful or unsure about potential AI. And I work in the people business. I work in retail, but I work in the relationship-driven business of making sure that people feel good about what they do so that we can improve performance. I learned that through running stores, right? So while it offers opportunities for increased productivity, the fear of job loss and pay cuts remains dominant concerns among workers. That's coming out everywhere, right? You're hearing that? Yes, people are scared about losing their job. We've heard that all day. So with that being said, how many searches do you think happen on Google? If I'm worried about my job, I'm somebody working in a retail store, working in a retail head office, and I'm worried about my job, obviously, I want to get better at my AI skills. So how many searches do you think there are every 30 seconds how I can improve my AI skills? How many? Guess the number. Millions? Thousands?
500,000.
How many?
500,000.
500,000? David? Nearly? Keep going up. How much?
3 million.
3 million. Okay, it's actually 425 million searches when I did it yesterday, and I keep looking at it. So we think everybody's okay with it, but people are scared of losing their job. But there's this many searches in Google, how do I improve my AI skills? Now, when you add work to this, how do I improve my AI skills at work? It actually doubles. It goes up to around over 730 million searches. So do you think people are scared? Yeah. Do you think they want help doing something about it? Yes. So as a leader, what do? You got to make AI your ally, right? You got to make AI your ally in your organization and talk about it like that. Because what do we do when we have allies? We bring people together on common ground, like-mindedness. We take the fear out of what potentially could be different to us and what makes us nervous. So we bring AI and we bring it into our team as an ally. So what we've done at Retail U and April Sobral Leadership is I asked my team, because they were scared, we build content for a living, okay? Content can be built very easily for training on ChatGPT, different AI tools we use. We use generative AI tools where you put me in a video. I actually posted one on social media not long ago on LinkedIn. Nobody really noticed it wasn't me. Because it was me in a video with a white suit, and it was my voice, but it actually wasn't me being filmed in the video. It was a script put in that actually changed my mouth and made me say something motivational. You're like, ooh, look at you, yeah. So we use AI a lot in our company. But the thing is, you know, my team is a content team, so they get really nervous. So what do I want to do? Influence positive adoption to make our jobs easier as a leader in my business. So I asked them, what can we do? So Rena on my team, she came up with, she's like, I'm going to rename ChatGPT and make her called Meloria. I was like, well, why are you calling her Meloria? She's like, because it means positivity in Latin, right? Right? And we're all about what? Positive leadership, positive change, what we do. So we go, okay, we've renamed it. And then I said, okay, what else can we do? Can we ask it some other questions about human expertise, right? And so we ask it, what's the difference between you and a human? I said, go on then, go and ask Meloria a question, right? Let's make her our ally, let's bring her into the fold. And so she asked that question, and this is what the answers that we got. So obviously, she said, well, consciousness, humans have consciousness, emotions, and subjective experiences, and I, as AI, don't have that. So I can't replace that. So then Rena's like, oh, good, I have consciousness. Now she's feeling a bit more positive, a bit more confident. She's like, this is great. Creativity, right? Well, I can generate creative responses with information. Human creativity is driven by personal experiences. What do we do in retail? We create personal experiences, right? So there's learning and growth, judgment and ethics, and context. It can't provide context if it doesn't have the experience, right? So what we're doing is for positive adoption and making sure, like you shared earlier about IKEA, they brought it in and then retrained their team to do another job that would be beneficial to the organization. That's what we're doing at Retail U and at the leadership company, so that we can really adopt it and make it a friend. And so literally, if I showed you my phone yesterday, it's like, did you ask Meloria that? I don't know, Meloria told me this, what do you think about this? And so we're having conversations with ChatGPT Meloria now to bring her in as an ally, right? So we're removing the fear, because one thing I learned when I was running retail stores was literally, if you don't over-communicate and bring people into the change, you will not be able to adopt that change positively. So can Meloria do this? She can't provide conscious, compassionate support, right? Realistically, she can't give you a hug when you're having a bad day. She can't talk to a customer. Well, she can't, there is AI that can do this, but she doesn't have that context of like, there's nothing like it when you're in a store and somebody comes in and you make that day brighter for somebody, right? Some of you in the room have worked in stores or worked with retailers. There's nothing more better than that. They can't, deliver real-time feedback with emotional insight. I coach leaders every day in retailers to provide support to their teams so that they can drive more sales. I learned that through running stores. So she can't do that. I have to give Rena feedback. She could ask, Meloria for some feedback, but it might not have emotional insight in it, right? So guide without judgment and ask emotionally connected, thought-provoking questions. She can't do that. So what that means then, we now value the human expertise in that experience, and as leaders, we need to focus and hone ourselves in on that and start training our people and recognizing that, and then using Meloria to help the other tasks that we've all been talking about today. Make sense so far? Yeah. All right, so what do you need to do as a leader then to make sure that you're helping your team adopt it? You need to have communication openly about this. This is what we do. We talk about Meloria every week, about how we're going to use her this week, or there is other, we use video software to generate videos. Synthesia is a good one that we use to generate, like me as a bot in a training video, so I don't have to be filmed in it anymore because it saves us cost. And actually it's better because I sound better when it's scripted instead of me having to do like 25 takes, believe it or not, right? Because I do get nervous in front of a camera, so that doesn't help us with the cost of it. But we need to provide training and development. One thing I've learned over the 35 years of running retail stores is without training and development, people don't know what to do, right? I think, Hani talked about that earlier, about education. So that's really important. So positive change. How do we get people to move positively and adopt things that are rapidly coming at us fast? Well, there's 6 supporting blocks. So vision is one of them. I think Feder, he talked about it. Fabio? I heard him say about like you have to share a vision with people to get people to move in the right direction. So what's your vision around AI in your company, or how are you using it? Are you sharing that? You might have a vision to be like, make every customer happy, sell more, be the number one, whatever, like sneaker company, whatever it is, but what's your vision around AI? And are you communicating that? Because that's really, really important. How are we going to integrate it into our business? Are you building people's skills? So are you providing the training that you need to, the softwares? It's like a big black hole, right? When you start looking at AI, and Kamoy, you said it to me, you were like, I like this topic today because it's bridging the gap between high level and low level. And we're talking about real platforms and real things that can make change. So are you building the skills? We need to learn that. Are you providing incentives around using AI, right? How are you recognizing people? Are you providing the right resources? Feedback and communication is really important, we know that. And then we have to have action plans. If we don't have action plans, guess what happens? And I want you to take a screenshot of this, or we'll get you the PDF of it once I've brought all the answers up, because when one of these blocks is missing, it creates anxiety and negative emotions in people. What happens when you feel anxious at work and you feel confused? What happens at work? Productivity dips, right? So when you don't have skills, people have anxiety. When you don't have incentives, it causes resistance. When you don't give resources, people are frustrated. Who's ever worked somewhere where you didn't have the resources you needed and you were really frustrated, right? Yeah, let's be real, right? We get frustrated. Sometimes as well, the resources are there. People just don't know the resources are there. So are you communicating what the resources are? I used to see that in stores all the time. People would say, we don't have this. I'm like, well, actually you do. If you went in the SOP and you found the 10 binders and da-da-da, it's all there. But like, are we creating a way for people to find the resources? If communication and feedback is not given, then people become suspicious. And then, if there's no action plan, guess what? You're just on a treadmill. And nobody feels good about this. So this can help you identify as a leader, because you're all leaders, whether you have a team or not, what are you creating and causing in your organization, in your team, so that you can maybe dial backwards and find out where your gap is. And maybe this will become an AI tool one day, I don't know, an app that can, the problem there's lots out there that can manage your emotions, but it's just a good way to get to adopt change. So I had a HR leader tell me a long time ago, you have a culture, everyone does, it just might not be the one you want, right? So if you're not actively working on culture, you have one, but is it the one that you want, right? And what do you want? You want a positive, supportive culture where creativity flourishes, change is adopted, especially when it comes to technology and AI. And that starts with you, the leader. Are you in the right mindset to lead your team into the future of retail? You have to ask yourself, where am I in this journey of AI? Where am I in this journey of adopting, all this new technology, as well as with my team? Am I frustrated every day? Like, poor Audra today, she's like, I repel technology. I said, you brought that on yourself, because I'm a big believer in mindset creates your reality, right? I've seen it over and over and over again. And one of them, like I'll show you a story about something that really nearly derailed my whole team. Now, this has nothing to do with AI, but it has to do with influence. So I was working in Canada, running a retail chain, and Black Friday is one of the busiest days, right, for retailers. And I was running a chain, we were having a planning meeting, and the buyers were there, the marketing team were there, IT were there, everybody was there. I was running the stores. We were asked by the org, right, here's your comp goals, go after it. Okay, so I think they had asked us for like a 20% comp goal. It was a new business. okay, we thought that was doable, right? In the midst of this, my fantastic, positive, supportive boss gets promoted to another department because she's so fantastic, and walks a new senior vice president. And she walks into the room to have a conversation with us and say hi, and say, hey, April, everybody, nice to meet you, my name is, and we're like, okay, great, nice to meet you too. We're in the midst of planning, and she says, well, what are you working on? We show her the number on the wall, and she says, yeah, that's not high enough, you need to increase it, and then leaves the room, right? So I don't know if that's anybody ever happened to you. You get a sales goal, right? You're like, yes, it's happened to me many times. It's happened to me. I ran stores. For a long time, I would get sales goals, and I'd be like, how do I get people to buy into this goal? Anyway, after she walks out, everybody goes, what? Pew, totally negative, complaining. Who's going to sign up to go and tell her that she's out to lunch, and we can't do it, right? So I get given that job, that assignment, to go and talk to her. So I walk down to her office, and I say to her, that goal, can we just talk about it? I don't think it's really realistic. You don't know what we did last year or the year before. You don't know how much we have on hand. All the information that we have in the data to show that we could do a 20% comp. And she just looked at me and she said, I don't need to know any of that, April. If you don't believe it, you just can't achieve it. And then she's like, okay, so we good? I said, yeah, we're good. I left the room. And I literally went home that night and I was like, what am I going to do? But she's right. If I don't believe it, I can't achieve it. And I was running the stores, so I had to make sure that I got people bought in. So what did I do? I went home, like operations people do, and wasn't fancy, went and bought a whole load of chocolate bars, created a $1 million thing on it, sent it to the stores, took it back to the office in the morning before anybody got there, put it on their desk and said, listen, we're going to go after the $1 million, and when we do it, we're all going to eat these chocolate bars. We're not going to talk about what we can't do. We're just going to talk about what we can do. And we beat the goal, right? We did 1.1. We did 47% comp. So what did that teach me? It taught me that my state of being, my state of mind, my influence could have derailed the whole company and the team for delivering those results. What does that mean when it comes to technology? It means that when a leader, this is a great statistic actually, 47% of employees say that leadership's reluctance with a negative mindset towards new technology can create a culture of resistance. So when we're creating a culture of resistance, it's the opposite of what we want to adopt when it comes to new technology, right? So it's important to remember that, can AI tools manage my people? I get asked that question all the time right now because people are tired, right? Managing people is a hard job. And I go, no, it can't really manage people for you, but it can replace, it can't replace the human touch and the emotional intelligence and all of these good things. And that's what matters when it comes to influencing people on your team and influencing positive adoption of anything. And so it's really important that we know that. But what you should do is use AI tools to supplement your leadership and not substitute them, right? Make sense? Yeah? Okay. So I'm going to leave you with, got a couple of slides left. So in all of our surveys, I've read hundreds and thousands of exit interviews in my time running stores. And top 3 things everybody wants from you as a leader. Number 1, they want to know, can I trust you? Okay? So when it comes to AI, adoption, technology, they want to trust you. What does trust mean? It means that you are walking your talk, right? That people can follow you because what you're asking them to do, you are doing yourself. So it's really important as leaders, we start to embrace technology, AI, get educated, and that's why events like this are so important, so that you can take it back to your team. They want to know, do you care about me? That's what they care about. Do you care about me, right? And then number 3, can you help me get better at my job? Why? Because people go to work to earn money, and they want to progress in life, most people. So remember that and use that as a filter, like, how am I doing on those questions, and could they say yes about me? And the last, one of the last things is, we teach this thing called the positive engagement formula, which transforms business. So it's how to activate positive emotions, build the skills and abilities, which then have people loving their job. And you get 10% discretionary effort out of every single person on your team, in stores, in the office, when you actually can say that you can master these 2 things. And so when you're thinking about technology again and AI, Building skills is really important. Mindset, how you communicate it, is really important. So just some key takeaways. Assume your employees are concerned and have reservations. If you thought that every day, you wouldn't take things for granted. You would go at things in a very much more intentional way. Communicate again and again. I can tell you, I ran a retail chain once where I think I had to communicate like 20 different executives coming and going, and I was like, I'm going to call everybody every day to let them know when it's happening. They appreciated that over communication, because it kept the relationship of trust going. Check your own mindset all the time. You get up in the morning, where are you at with things? How are you influencing everybody else? Your beliefs do influence your team's beliefs, how you talk about things. Reinforce the value of human and artificial intelligence. So what do we get to do and show up as? And then educate and skill up your people and their AI skills. And that, ta-da, will hopefully, positive retail leaders build positive teams and create positive customer experiences. And that's what we all want at the end of the day. That's what everybody wants. Why are we doing all of this? Because we want retail positive sales, right? Make sense? Okay, awesome. Thank you. Thanks, Archie.